Alright, hey guys, welcome back to another video, and today we'll be talking about multiplayer features, skins, mods, all of that. This guy made this thread right over here. I'm gonna link it down below. We're gonna read his what's it called? I guess his question or kind of statements, and then we're gonna read what the developers have to say. There's a couple of developer posts right over here, or community managers. They still get their info from the developers, so it's pretty much the same thing. And we're going to go through it. We're going to see what it's all about. It's not going to be too long of a video. I don't want to keep it too long. Just want to get right through it. Plus, I don't have too much time because Thanksgiving's coming and I kind of have to do a long drive. So it is what it is. But let's do it. So multiplayer mods can't be made until 2022 unless we find an alternative. So he says custom server when. It takes the time it takes because we have a limited amount of people working on multiplayer. This is all with the this is what the devs have to say, by the way, or the community manager, whatever you want to call it. It takes the time it takes because you have a limited amount of people working on multiplayer. We aren't a huge AAA studio that can throw 100 people on multiplayer development and pump out content. By the way, this is a previous statement that the community manager has made. We're doing the best we can with the resources we have, and a lot of time we have to prioritize work which we deem to be more important. But at the end of the day, the game is still in early access, and we were quite clear to people when the game was in an unfinished state, and they should hold off until the final release if they wanted a complete game. Alrighty, now here's what the guy has to say that made the thread. So you probably don't need reminders why the lack of custom servers is majorly holding multiplayer back. We're currently limited to a handful of game modes that only cater to a small section of the player base. The rest of us are waiting for battle mods, dual mode, and mods like we got CRPG, Kingdoms, and Full Invasion. Okay, these mods are massive and take years to make and perfect. I should know. I worked on F12, or is that FI2? I don't know, for 5 years. However, we can't do anything unless we have access to custom servers. Just look at any of the threads above. These mods are dead in the water until we get access to custom servers to start experimenting and modding. Mods are the only reason Warband survives even still now, true. And the same goes to the Warband multiplayer, true. The same is vital for Bannerlord. Its multiplayer cannot stand on its own without mod support. Even if native Bannerlord multiplayer were the best it could be, which it's not, it still can't cater for every player the way that good mod support can. Now, I'm aware that Tailworlds has finally communicated the reasons why multiplayer development is slow and custom servers aren't there. The multiplayer team is limited in size and currently has other priorities than custom servers. This is mildly infuriating, but better than radio silence. Therefore, I have two questions for the developers. Are you aware that multiplayer mods cannot be created without custom servers? I think they are aware of that. Is there any option at all where us multiplayer modders don't have to sit and wait for 2 more years? I think it's just time to wait, unfortunately. I'm just giving my honest truth, however it comes off. Pure honesty here. To clarify my second question, I may not like it, but I understand why custom servers won't be coming for quite some time. Therefore, I would like to know if we could work out some kind of alternative to allow multiplayer modders to work on projects we love without breaking the workflow Terworld has. Okay, and we got something else here down here. With the game's current trajectory, multiplayer mods can't be made until over a year from now, won't start appearing until late 2022, and won't be fleshed out until a year after that. I think that's stupid, and I want to see if we can find some alternatives. We got a lot of plus ones, which makes obvious sense, right? Now, here's my honest truth before we get to the what the developers have to say. When Bannerlord multiplayer it did release at the same time as the single player, right? The problem is, like you stay right here, obviously, there's not much to do. There's only a couple of game modes, and if you don't like those game modes, you're not going to play it again. And what we saw was a huge drop-off in numbers. Obviously, it's single player and multiplayer because it wasn't a finished game. But in multiplayer, we saw a very significant drop in numbers of players because, obviously, they didn't like those game modes. They kind of wanted what they had in Warband in terms of that multiplayer, but with the better graphics and the better mechanics, right? They thought, oh, this could be really good if they could just, not in a way port it, but kind of just like make it very similar, right? But unfortunately, the huge drop-off in players probably caused the developer team to say, hey, we have to focus on where the majority of players are right now, and that is single player. and that's unfortunate. I'm not saying if they had more people, like they also state right here, if they were a AAA studio and they could throw 100 people at it, I'm pretty sure they would. But unfortunately, they can't. They have to prioritize the thing that's, getting played the most right now, which is single player, which, again, unfortunate. Um, it might seem like we'll have to wait two more years until all this is, said and done. I don't think they can kind of give you guys access to like stuff that they might have access to, because they have to build a system so then you can use that system to make the custom servers. They need to build that access and all that stuff, right? I don't know exactly how that works. I'm just talking from a very outside perspective. Obviously, they have to build that like the custom servers and stuff like that, then give you access, and then you can start building what you want to build in terms of like modded servers and stuff like that, right? So I don't think they're gonna do it right now. I think they want to finish single player, not finish it, but make it to the point where it's just like in a good place, and then they'll put more members into the multiplayer development. That's what I think. It's my personal opinion. Who knows? It might change. Something else might happen, but that's personally what I think. Now let's see what the developers have to say. So we have a lot of people who said a lot of stuff. I'm gonna link this down below if you want to read through a lot of it. But I'm just gonna stick to what the community manager has to say, and pretty much what the developers have to say. Alrighty, so I know this isn't the answer you want to hear, but our position on this hasn't changed since the last time the topic was discussed. Unfortunately, server files are a long way away. Yep, it won't be coming anytime soon. And with our current system, it isn't as simple as just sharing server files with you and away you go. There's a lot of work that needs to be done before they would be ready to share. Like I said, they need to build like whatever is needed before they give you that access. They need to build that whole thing, and it's unfortunate. I'm pretty sure they want to obviously give it to you as well, and build off of that. I'm pretty sure they're very happy that modding tools was finally released, because it takes some burden and some of all the extreme hate that's been coming to the developers since the start of this early access process. I'm pretty sure they want to give that to you as well, but they just don't have the resources or probably time or the amount of people to work on that project right now. And it might not seem that way, and people might be like, oh, the last update, it wasn't super huge, but all that stuff isn't in, like, development is it's so much more complex than you think. You might be like, oh, well, they just changed how the AI does this and that. That's a simple fix. No, it's very so much intricate parts. And then guess what? If you fidget with this one little piece, guess what? A piece of code from all the way over there that might be in some way indirectly or directly connected to what you just did might get messed up, or might do something else. And then since that does something else, guess what? Another different thing and another piece of code that's indirectly or directly, it's like this chain reaction of stuff that can happen. And it's just like, development's hard. It is what it is. It's hard, but yeah, it's an unfortunate story. It is what it is. All right, let's see what else they have to say. So player asks, but does it have to do something? But does it have something to do with the mods apparently making a better multiplayer, or maybe does it something to do with monetization? I don't think it's either. I don't think the reason they're doing it is because they might get outshined by mods. I don't think that's the look at it at all. And also monetization. I know a lot of people want to say, oh, they got their pre-release money and now they left and now they're gone or whatever. Listen, I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm going to keep it an absolute 100 with you. The way companies make money now is having a multiplayer game that's very successful, and then some type of collection mechanism that they could then use these boxes and these loot things to then incentivize you to like start this huge collection so you can show off to your other multiplayer friends. That's the thing. And it's crazy is a lot of games are doing it now to single player as well. So instead of showing off your collection to your multiplayer friends, you can just keep looking at it as you spend hundreds if not thousands of dollars. And they do this, if you didn't know this yet, they do this not just so the regular player can spend like $10. They don't care about that. If you spend $10 on a like little multiplayer service, they care about those very wealthy people or moderately wealthy people that will spend thousands of dollars. They'll purchase the game for $60 because, of course, they're not going to drop it below that, these AAA companies. But guess what? They're going to spend thousands of dollars on a multiplayer service, and boom, that's where the money is. And listen, if Tail Worlds was about that, and if they wanted to make Bannerlord this huge cash cow, as some people in the forums think they did, they would fully focus on the multiplayer. They would put the most people on there on the multiplayer. They would get like this mythic gear, this type of gear, this type of weapon, this type of skin, this type of armor skin. They would put all that in there. They would have like the double XP weekends for this. They would have the this and then that. If they were all about the money, they would go fully in on the multiplayer, and the single player would just be like, go have fun with that. That's why I never understood the people who were like, oh, they grabbed the cash and ran. Like, oh, it's so crazy. And then those same people will then later that day will log into one of these AAA games where literally the store page has more content than the game has itself. I just cannot. Okay, that's another discussion for another day. I just have to say how it is. You know, people like that just like you know what I'm saying? Well, let's just continue. But I'm pretty sure that's not what that's not. I'm not hitting this person for that. You know what I mean? Like, he's just asking a question. I'm just saying the people who are very, very negative about Tail Wars and saying, oh, they did it all for the money, now they ran. Oh, yeah. I can't even start with that. But let's read the response. I'm sorry, I just went off on a tangent. Considering that a hugely successful DLC from our previous game was born as a multiplayer mod, I'm not even sure this notion makes much sense, to be honest. Yeah, exactly. Like they never really cared that mods made their game successful. They encouraged it. They continue to encourage it. You know, as soon as modding tools were released, they even made a huge statement like, you know, like, please try your best, do this, that. We always really appreciate the mods. They gave a huge thank you. You know, they've been giving huge thank yous to mod authors. No, I said authors, mod developers and stuff like that. And they've worked with mod developers in the past. So it's just like, come on now. I mean, I don't think it would be possible for Bannerlord skins to make a fraction of the money NW did. What is NW? NW. What is NW? I don't know what that is. Okay, so from business POV, it wouldn't make much sense in my opinion. There it is. There's your whole monetization thing. So, but in a way, I think, listen, if they were really, really greedy, let's think about this from the super greedy aspect of, you know, video games, right? I feel like if Bannerlord really tried it, if they really tried it, like Tailwords really tried it, they could really have like a competitor to all these other medieval genre kind of multiplayer games if they really wanted to. But obviously they want the sandbox experience of single player and obviously all of that, right? But if they really wanted to get into that multiplayer space, I feel like they could. All right, and then we have another question from another person. Which statement is true? What has happened since beta? Did we get successfully multiplayer or got the infrastructure and reasoning for the skins? Okay, that's a lot of questions and that's a lot of generalized questions. Jesus Christ. Okay. Developers respond, we don't have any plans to sell skins right now. It's far too soon to even be thinking about the discussion considering how much work multiplayer has left to do. Boom. You want to hear no AAA company say that? Come on now. They start selling skins before combat even works properly. Come on now. Let's be honest now. All right, let me stop. But by these statements you can see, like, you know, I think it's clearly the lack of manpower and obviously having to focus on the single player right now. I think that is the sole reason of it. If it was for money, if it was for a cash grab, why wouldn't they work on multiplayer? Right now, if you want to make a very popular, like I said, if you want to make a very popular video game, you want one that lasts a long time in the multiplayer scene. It's super simple, you know? And if they really wanted to do it, I feel like they would have done it if their goal was money. And I don't think that's their goal, unfortunately. So, not unfortunately, but like for people who thought it was. Unfortunately, it's not. Alrighty, last statement by the developer. The multiplayer server system, much like the game, is still in development. I understand the arguments put forward for sharing the files ASAP, in particular for modders, but there's still work to be done on them. there it is. That's all he could say. Obviously, he can't give you a estimated date because it's going to be a long time, unfortunately. You know, it's unfortunate for people who did want it. You know, it might be time to take a break and do something else until this comes along. And follow the channel. No, I'm just kidding. But I will cover it when it does. You know, obviously we see progress and stuff towards it. I will cover it. But it is what it is. You know, hopefully this was informative. Hopefully kind of, you know, gave you some outlook, even though it's going to be a long time. But it is what it is. You know, sometimes you gotta wait. Sometimes stuff doesn't work out how it's supposed to. That's life, you know. But listen, I'm out of here. Don't want to keep this too long. It's already getting too long because I got on that huge tangent. But yeah, hopefully this was informative. Ask me any questions, concerns, and like always, stay safe.